For since it is impossible for a created monad to have a physical influence on the inner nature of another, this is the only way in which one can be dependent to another, meaning, obviously, the monad is God's creation and dependence and reliance upon each other, and also their own differentiation in one or another is all God's making, creation, and development, and also it's also always been God's will, desire, ambition, greatness, power, and the display of all those aspects, qualities, virtues at the same time that results not only in the creation of monad but also individual, innumerable monads in the materialistic, relative, finite, limited world in which we live. There are infinite monads, innumerable of them, and each of them having their own difference, distinction, differentiation, significance, even if they are alike or they are thought to be alike by the human mind, but they are ultimately different from each other. And that's how everything becomes harmonious, systematic, and unified. Not because they all are alike, same, identical all the time, but because they have their intrinsic differences and also their external phenomena, outside reactions and responses that makes them different and gives them an identification, recognition, realization of their own by not obviously uh, uniting them all the time, but because of their own difference. So monads may exist, but they cannot determine real physical influence upon the materialistic relative world to which we've been assigned. So the world that we have created also in society, education, infrastructure, development, capitalism, objective pleasure, in that there is the monad. Over this world, the monad cannot and will not be able to determine any physical, real, concrete influence, intervention, because it's an invisible entity after all. It's an invisible substance, and it's also our mind's creation. Our intellectual faculties have also been responsible in the understanding, development, and comprehension of the God made and created and developed monad, and not because it always exists, but because of our mind's interpretation, power, faculty, it exists because we're able to interpret, understand it in one way or another. So obviously, the monads are neither similar nor alike, but they are different because they have their own differences. But then again, that is the only way. They are dependent on another because of their differences, and not because they are all the same or alike, but because they are different from each other, they are also dependent on another in one way or another. So that's how everything in nature works. They are neither similar nor alike, but everything has its own differences that are internal, intrinsic, inside. And that differentiation also